It's the kind of revelation that doesn't just dent a reputation, it obliterates it. In a stunning on-air statement, royal biographer Angela Levin has thrown Meghan Markle's entire marriage narrative into question by claiming that Harry was never her first royal choice. According to Levin, Meghan's sights were originally set on none other than Prince William, the future king. If true, this isn't just a personal embarrassment. It's a catastrophic PR meltdown that rewrites the great love story the Sussexes have sold to the world for the past 7 years.
Spouting off in our podcast. I mean, what is your view of how this podcast is going down at the moment, especially what the royal family is saying, if they're saying anything?
It was very interesting, just before she did it.
The fairy tale collapses into a cold, calculated strategy, a plan not born from romance, but from ruthless ambition to secure the most prestigious royal prize. Angela Levin has been in the royal game for decades, with rare access to senior royals, courtiers, and aides who are usually allergic to gossip. That's why her words carry weight. When Levin says she's been told by people inside the palace walls that Meghan's first royal target was William, she isn't speaking recklessly. She's speaking from conversations with those who were there.
She said that she wanted to speak without anybody filtering out what she said. She wanted to say the real me, so we'd all get to know that. I think she's put herself right down the drain, actually.
In her latest interview, Levin described hearing from credible insiders that Meghan's early interactions with the royal family included subtle and sometimes not so subtle attempts to connect more closely with William. This wasn't idle chatter, she insisted. These were accounts from individuals who observed Meghan's behavior firsthand and felt her interest was unusually focused on the man who one day will wear the crown. For Meghan, this claim is more than damaging. It's devastating because it suggests that Harry was not the one from the start. He was simply the one available.
I think people have, all around the world, not just the UK, have felt that her behaviour is not appropriate at any level about anyone. I mean, there were several lies that she said as well. One was
after her preferred option proved out of reach long before Harry and Meghan's 2016 blind date, Meghan's social life was not the random scatter of a Hollywood actress. It was laser-focused. Angela Levin's sources claim Meghan deliberately sought invitations to charity galas, fashion events, and cultural gatherings where she knew the Cambridges were expected. Was this just the behavior of a curious royal watcher? Perhaps. But when you examine the pattern, event after event, appearance after appearance, it begins to look more like calculated positioning.
N-word, which people don't use about her children. I can't imagine that any journalist would do that today. She hasn't got any proof. Another was that she couldn't take her Archie to school because there'd be about 40.
She didn't just stumble into circles where William and Kate moved. She navigated herself there. In the world of celebrity and royalty, proximity is currency. And Meghan, according to Levin, was banking every coin she could to get closer to the man at the very top of the royal hierarchy. Palace aides, notoriously difficult to impress, allegedly noticed Meghan's heightened interest in William almost immediately. She asked questions. She took note of his public appearances. She appeared to study his image and interests with an intensity that, in hindsight, feels more strategic than social.
Photographers there every single day. Well, there's a law in this country that you can't do that. You can go and take a small royal child on the first day of term, and that's it. You leave them alone, and it's obeyed.
One aide, speaking under condition of anonymity, reportedly told Levin that Meghan's manner toward William wasn't flirtatious in an overtly romantic sense. It was calculated charm, the kind of warmth and attentiveness designed to win over an influential figure who could open doors. But there was a problem. William, raised to navigate the complexities of royal life, could spot ambition at 50 paces. According to insiders, he maintained a polite but cool distance from Meghan, ensuring interactions remained surface level and public.
It's not obeyed by the photographers, it's obeyed by the press. But she didn't do that. But another one which really fascinated me was that she said that she didn't have to sign anything while she was at the royal family, so she can say anything she liked.
Every plan has its turning point. And for Meghan, that turning point came when it became clear that William was an obstacle, not an opportunity. He was already married to Kate, deeply committed to his role, and uninterested in forming any personal connection that could be perceived as improper. Kate herself, according to Levin's sources, was quick to sense something unusual in Meghan's attention. Far from the warm, sisterly bond Meghan would later claim she hoped for, Kate maintained a professional politeness, protecting her marriage and her position with the kind of quiet vigilance the palace is was known for.
Whereas what she said in Oprah Winfrey was that they silenced her. So
they took her passports apparently and everything else.
Well, she went on 18 holidays the year that they took her passports. I can't imagine they would let her out the country without that. But, you know,
this weariness, often explained in the press as clashing personalities, may have had a deeper cause. Kate sensed that Meghan's gaze had once been fixed on her husband and that trust was never going to be the foundation of their relationship. When William became an unreachable goal, Meghan's romantic story with Harry allegedly shifted into high gear. Here was a royal bachelor, the spare to William's heir, who was not only single but also famously emotionally vulnerable. Critics argue this pivot was swift and strategic. Once Harry was identified as the alternative path into royal life, the whirlwind romance just weeks between their first date and talk of commitment makes more sense in the context of urgency.
And really it was all about her. She wants to align herself with extremely rich women so that they become a group, but actually she always has to win. And extraordinarily, she thinks that we all want to know. And that, for example, when she was called
If Meghan's ambition was to marry into the royal family, Harry represented the last open door. From there, the fairy tale was rewritten. William was erased from the prelude. Harry was cast as the leading man, and the narrative of soulmates against the world was born. But thanks to Levin's revelation, that carefully edited prologue is now back in the public eye. And it's far less romantic than the Sussexes want us to believe.
That she told us in detail about how she sweated. Well, you know, we don't really want to know that, do we? But I thought that both of them have been just quite dreadful. And I think now coming over here, it's very different.
When Angela Levin made her claim, royal watchers didn't just ask if it was true, they asked if it fit. And the answer for many is yes, because this wouldn't be the first time Meghan's relationships appeared to align with her career or social ambitions. Before Harry, Meghan was married to Hollywood producer Trevor Engelson, a connection that offered her access to industry networks far above the reach of her Suits role. After their divorce, she moved into circles linked to celebrity stylists, political donors, and philanthropists with international reach. In each case, there's a visible pattern. Meghan invests heavily in relationships that carry influence.
With the royal family, she did her podcast the week at the Diana's anniversary of her death, which I think was totally inappropriate. The Queen is not well, we all know that, yet she just blasts her way through. I've never known anybody quite like that.
Her alleged early focus on William slots perfectly into this history, not as a shocking anomaly, but as a continuation of a well-established modus operandi. The public has long known about the frosty dynamic between Meghan and Kate, but Angela Levin's revelation gives it a new, far sharper edge. If Meghan once saw William as her ultimate royal prize, then Kate was never just a sister-in-law. She was a rival who had already claimed the position Meghan wanted most. That kind of underlying tension doesn't dissolve over tea and polite conversation. It festers.
Who won't actually have any empathy for anyone, yet will go and talk to people. She's going to One World, where she's talking to 190 young people about how they should be, and I think nobody should allow her there, because who wants to be like that?
Well, she seems to have, and she has.
Some palace aides, speaking anonymously over the years, have suggested that Meghan often framed her clashes with Kate as personality differences or cultural misunderstandings. But viewed through Levin's lens, those clashes look more like the residue of a rivalry Meghan could never win and could never fully forgive. In Britain, Meghan's public image has been battered for years. But in the US, where she and Harry have tried to rebuild their brand, the fairy tale romance narrative is still the cornerstone of their public appeal. If Americans begin to see Harry as the backup plan instead of the great love story, the damage could be fatal to Brand Sussex, the Oprah interview, the Netflix series, and even Harry's memoir, Spare.
A lot of people who want to be like her or emulate her, the Sussexes, there's some sort of the Sussex Squad or whatever they call themselves. And then there was that comment that she made about the fact that people in South Africa celebrated when Nelson Mandela was released from prison.
That's the key one. I should have said that first.
I mean, but I mean, these are all
woven with the idea that theirs was a meeting of souls against impossible odds. Strip away that central romance, and what's left? Two disillusioned royals whose public persona was built on a false premise. A love story that, if Levin's claim is accurate, began not with fate, but with failure. For years, palace insiders have accused Meghan of treating the monarchy as if it were a Hollywood studio, a platform to be leveraged for personal gain rather than an institution to be respected. Angela Levin's revelation doesn't just support that criticism, it supercharges it. If Meghan's first royal aim was the heir, not the spare, it reframes her marriage as a calculated career move, not a romance. It makes the palace's early skepticism toward her not only understandable, but arguably justified. This is why even among royals who have stayed silent on the Sussex drama, there's a sense of grim vindication. They suspected her motives from the start, and now the public may finally see why. And then there's Meghan's silence with every other public controversy, from the infamous "Kate made me cry" claim to the accusations of bullying staff. Meghan has been quick to issue statements, grant interviews, or send lawyers after critics. But on Angela Levin's claim that she originally wanted William, there's been nothing. No denial, no statement, not even a sarcastic quip. In the court of public opinion, silence is dangerous. To her critics, it reads like confirmation. To her supporters, it's an uncomfortable void they can't easily defend. Now, let's dive deeper into the implications of Levin's claims. For Meghan, this silence, this refusal to address the accusation that she had her eye on William, has left a massive gap in the narrative. And in the world of celebrity gossip, silence isn't just avoidance, it's a statement in itself. By not denying the story, Meghan is allowing it to simmer. In the minds of many, this only confirms the allegations. Why stay silent on a claim that could so easily be debunked if it weren't true? If there's one thing Meghan is known for, it's being outspoken, whether it's on the royal family's treatment of her or any public controversy that's rocked her and Harry's image. Yet here, on a topic that directly challenges the very foundation of their story, Meghan has kept quiet. It's almost as if she's silently acknowledging the truth behind Levin's bombshell, unable to contradict it without further risking the fragility of their carefully constructed narrative. In a way, this could be seen as Meghan's biggest misstep yet. It's not just about whether she wanted William, it's about the fact that she's left the public to piece together the rest of the story without any response. In the game of public relations, not responding to a scandal doesn't make it go away. It feeds the fires, it fuels the rumors, and in Meghan's case, it could be the final nail in the coffin for her public image. Critics are already painting the silence as confirmation. For them, it's a massive betrayal, not just of the royal family, but of the people who have supported Meghan and Harry throughout their journey. People want to believe in their love story, but now it seems less like a fairy tale romance and more like a well-crafted business transaction. This new information positions Meghan not as the innocent victim she's always portrayed, but as a calculating player in a much larger game. And this revelation could have serious repercussions for her and Harry's future. Their brand, built on the narrative of overcoming royal struggles, of a young couple who battled against the odds, could shatter. If people begin to see Harry as a fallback option, the whole concept of soulmates against the world becomes harder to sell. Meghan's reputation as the resilient, empowered woman who dared to break free from royal expectations starts to look more like a narrative of opportunism. There's also the reality of how this bombshell impacts their relationship with the rest of the royal family. If Meghan was truly eyeing William, as Levin claims, then the dynamics within the royal family could be far more complicated than anyone imagined. Imagine Kate's perspective now. She has every reason to feel betrayed by Meghan's calculated moves, and the silent treatment from Meghan only deepens the divide. For the royals, this latest development brings a certain sense of vindication. Meghan's perceived ambition, something they've quietly whispered about behind closed doors for years, is no longer a quiet rumor, it's public knowledge. And it's not just about Meghan anymore, it casts a shadow over Harry as well. His love story, once seen as a tale of romantic defiance, is now tangled in a web of manipulation and strategy. His role in all this remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. He's been painted as the backup plan. The question now is whether the public will continue to buy into the narrative of Harry and Meghan, the couple who defied all odds, or if they'll start seeing them as something far less appealing. What's fascinating about this entire saga is that it's not just about one person, it's about a system where relationships and alliances aren't always as they seem, where power, influence, and legacy are at play, and where the pursuit of the crown can overshadow even the most personal connections. Meghan's attempt to rewrite her own royal story from the outside looking in now seems like nothing more than an ambitious power grab. As for Harry, it remains to be seen how much of this new revelation will affect his standing. He's long been seen as the lovable underdog, second in line, always playing second fiddle to William. But now, with the world questioning the true nature of his relationship with Meghan, will his image remain untarnished? Or will this be the moment where people start to see him too as a player in a much darker, more calculated narrative?